And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Yay! All right, folks, welcome back to another week here on the Regulators. Everyone's the long-standing running show for SEO and search news because there's just no one else left. I think there's us and Jim, I think, Terry, at this point. So we could certainly say we're one of the top two SEO-related newscasts on the web today. You know, I think we're safe on that.
Because there's nobody else?
Well, unfortunately, yes, but you know, we'll take that. All right, so we got Terry Van Horn, SEO Pros, SEO Dojo, and elsewhere. How's it going today, sir?
Oh, rockin', Dave.
Excellent, buddy. He's in the groove already, and of course, Steve Guerin, sir, Steam Driven Media.
Hello.
Home of the shaky cam. What is that one? Does your cat keep jumping on the table or something, or what?
Well, that would be the testimonial videos my clients keep sending me that they're shooting with their little phone and they're doing this.
It's like a selfie, but in video version. Nice.
It's like, can you clean up all this bouncing in my video?
No.
Could you buy a $5 tripod, please?
Yeah, that is actually probably next. You can clean it up a little bit, but that's why they invented those movie cams that have the non-shaking and stuff, because from the editing side, it's
selfie sticks. Have you seen those where you put your phone on a stick so you can take a picture?
No, I have not. Really?
Oh yeah, selfie stick. I saw it on TV the other day. Blew my fucking mind. What's this?
That shit is just so out of hand, man. I can't take it.
Yeah.
My daughters post them every other day or every day, and I'm like,
generation, eh, Steve? I thought we were the me generation. Yeah, I don't think
apparently
so.
not. We're not nearly self-centered.
No, there's this group coming along right now. They've got into an art form.
Oh, fuck me.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. All right, so let's, off the top, folks, we're going right into our educational element today, or edutainment, as we, I guess, like to call it around here. And lo and behold, Steve has written again. I don't know, Terry, but I get the feeling he must be getting work from this or something. There's got to be something going on that we don't know about, because...
Too much time on his hands.
No, and that's the thing. I don't think he's got too much time. It's obviously he tried it a couple times, but this works. Anyways.
It's a function of having stuff sitting in draft mode for 2 years.
All right. So as those listening, I'm sure you can't see this, so we'll move to that end, which is how much should I be paying for PPC ads? Or can I really afford this? Okay, so what's the premise here, Steve? I read it, but I'll let you put it out there.
Generally, what happens is almost every single new client we get has absolutely no clue how much their customers are worth them, or how much their leads are worth to them, or they're just pouring money in a hole.
You mean like CPA and stuff like that?
Yeah, and so what happens is they pour money into a hole. Their agency that they've hired sends them the report that says, look how good we're doing, and they smile and nod and go, we're doing great, and continue on their merry way. But in the grand scheme of things, it seems like almost every single one of those reports I've seen tends to track metrics that don't actually make money. They track things like reach and clicks and cost per click, which are all great. It's like, hey, we got your cost per click down to 4 cents per click. So that's great, but
awesome.
We had one sale out of 10 million clicks.
But did we make money from those clicks? That's incredible.
And I kind of got tired of explaining this over and over and over again to clients, so that's where the genesis for this post came from. And so, the first thing we had to, I'm always surprised at how often you talk to a business and ask them how much do they make when they sell something. And a lot of them simply don't know. They know that they've got more money than they had, but they couldn't give you a number. And so you have to be able to work these kinds of things out with your clients and work them backwards to figure out what you can afford versus not afford. That way, Because if you don't do this, then
Right.
you can't
So
set
you
proper
could have a
goals.
product. You could have a product looking at the first one, your profit per sale. You could have a product that you have extremely low margins on, and that's your highest click-through and converting product. But that doesn't. When you combine that with everything in one big mass metric, it's not going to really tell you.
Right. Like one of the biggest things, we had a client last year who they were spending somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 a month on pay-per-click. And they were making about $12,000 a month in sales from their pay-per-click account, and they were thrilled, which is great because it means they're making money. But we started looking at their account really closely and found out that they were making 90% of their sales, or about $10,000 in sales, on about $1,000 of their ad spend. So the other $3,000 they were just throwing in a hole, and it was just getting eaten up and covered up by the purchases that were being driven by the one ad that was really killing it. So we tweaked a few things, and increased their ratio significantly, and left the owner of the company with an extra $2,000 or $3,000 in his pocket every month.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, part of that is, Steve, because they don't break it down into small enough categories that you can track it by the category and do like your ROI and stuff on a group in the AdSense thing. That way you can cut a whole group out. I used to cut groups out at only certain periods of the day. That's like some guys just throw a bunch of shit against the wall and collect 10% on it. That's how they do AdWords.
Well, and that's it. Yeah, just create all kinds of categories and freaking targets and broad matches and everything else, and just fucking throw it out there and say, hey, look, we made 1,000 more than last month. But like Steve was saying, you could have made 3,000 more than last month if you optimized it.
Right. Well, see, and that's just it. For the guy that was making $1,000 or spending $1,000 to make 10 after we cleaned up his account, we were able to dump half of what we cut. So we doubled his ad spend on just that one ad, and all of a sudden now he's making $20,000 or $30,000 a month, and he's not spending any more than he was. But it's because all the dogs were taken out of his spend and they weren't dragging him down. So it works out great if you actually take the time and do the math. And it kind of bothers me that how many people don't do this.
All right, so would you like to break down the math a bit? Let's start with the profit
really want
per
to talk
sale.
across the numbers online like this. It'll get confusing. But the first thing you have to do is determine how you want to track your goals, your customers.
Yeah.
Is it per item? If you've got one item that it gives you $100 in profit, another item that gives you $2 in profit, you might not want those in the same ad group. So you want to keep similar profit. That's kind of how we break it down. Is we break it down by similar profit margins instead of similar products. But so if you want to track it by individual,
just to clarify for the folks listening, so if you've got something with a 10% profit margin and something with a 20% margin, et cetera, 25, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you break them down into those kind of groupings.
But that doesn't even necessarily take into account the fact that thing with your 25% margin might only cost or might only sell for $5.
Yeah.
Where the thing with a 10% margin might sell for $10,000. Well, guess which one I want to sell.
Right.
So it's
overall profit plays into it as well as margins.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I also, Steve, when I looked at it, I also looked at the margin and then what it was costing me on average per click. And it's pretty easy to see this ain't gonna pay. Why even bother? Like, if you're only gonna make $1 and your click-through rate is X and your, conversion rate is X and, sometimes it's not gonna work out. And there's a lot of stuff in retail, like on e-commerce sites, that aren't even worth doing PPC on. Partially because of pricing too.
Right.
Well,
and then it comes back to the other way of tracking this is by your lifetime customer value, which I didn't go into in this particular post because that's a whole nother subject that involves a lot more with Google Analytics and tracking over a longer period of time. So what we tend to do when those numbers are hard to get is just look at the overall average profit of the business over like a month or 3 months or whatever, and use that as a kind of an overall branding value, so that we can start going backwards from there and saying, okay, well, if your profit margin is $20 or $25 and your conversion rate's 2%, then this is how much money you can spend maximum per click and break even. Well, if the goal is to break even, then perfect, there's your number. If your goal is to actually turn a profit, then you have to roll that number back. And just because you're only paying 10 cents per click doesn't mean you're actually making money. So,
and there's going to be, I guess, overlap in these different categorizations you're building.
Okay.
And so that's, I guess, where people start to get all confused and lazy and just go fuck it and, throw more money on it.
In my experience,
what if
you spend a lot of money, a lot of time up front setting it up, but once you have it set up, you leave it alone. It's on autopilot.
Right.
Then it's just collecting data and keep an eye on stuff.
Like Steve, wouldn't you even get into seasonal? Like some product items are going to be more seasonal than others, and there's layers of that probably involved.
Definitely some seasonal effort there, and that's why we got an ads we shut off back in December for a client. It's like, well, we run these ads year round. It's like, why? You have an outdoor business, and you're standing in 4.5 feet of snow right now. I mean, what's the point of running these ads? Because right now the clicks aren't actually converting into anything.
Or if you were selling shovels, a general example, snow shovels at one time of year and gardening shovels at a different time of year, you're going to want to segment and adjust your spend and what you're working on depending on what the product is and when it's got its seasonality.
Day parting is huge. With the payday loan stuff, I just avoided the time zones in, sorry to say it, India altogether. My ads were turned off when people in India were awake, let's say. Not nothing against it, but, it was easy to see there was a lot of fraud coming from
Google could do a lot to help with these ads, but they don't, because they make money for Google. So there's a certain advantage to having a lower conversion rate, because because you're burning more clicks and earning more revenue for Google.
Look at the way it sets up by default, Steve. Yeah. Google tells you, don't turn on what we used to call the content network until you know what you're doing, basically. But they automatically turned it on, so people start it, and right away they're on the content network too, half the time not even realizing it. Like, if they know that, why turn it on? That tells their intent big time.
And it can get, I mean, when you're in a business where you're generating leads instead of actual hard sales, that adds a whole nother level of math that requires your salespeople to be involved to let you know how well those leads that you're generating on the website are converting into actual sales. And you got to get them to buy in as well. And if your salespeople don't want to buy in, then we've actually played hardball.
Which they may not, because that may start to show their own talents.
Right. Well, what we did is we started to play a little hardball with one of the groups has a fairly significant sales staff. And for the ones that weren't filling out the little check form that we had just to tell them where the lead came from, if they didn't fill it out, then we quit giving them web leads. And after a while, they start checking the boxes because they know they're not getting those leads off the website. So it really does require the business to be involved and make sure that their staff gets into it too, because there's so many. Otherwise, you're guessing. It could be a good guess, it could be a pretty accurate guess, but you're still adding a variable that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, which fucks with all your forecasting going forward when you start guessing.
Right.
I generally run different pages, so it's pretty easy to separate all that stuff.
Right.
I know it's coming from PPC because nothing else can get in from there. Anyways, the other thing is knowing the lifetime value of a customer is in some businesses the only way you can make money, because you turn it all off if you didn't know those numbers. Payday loans is a good example. You know, you're spending $100 to get a client, but you know, unfortunately, those clients sign up over and over and over and over. You know,
it's the same thing.
Tell you some stuff that
if you're doing one of these, you know, free or $5, $7, $9 lead-in products that's designed to get somebody in and warm them up for the $200 product, you need to know those numbers as well, because you know you're not going to make any money at $7. Where you're going to make your money is when they buy the $200 one. So then you're in the full conversion funnel mode where you've got to turn those $7 sales into $200 sales at a pretty high rate to justify the ad spend. So you're constantly in the spreadsheets trying to figure out what those numbers are, because in the end, unless the client's happy with breaking even or losing money just for branding, you've got to be able to crunch these numbers out and show them this is how much money they make.
And doesn't that kind of mess with your CPA at the end of the day if you're not taking into account lifetime sales and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
it's more important in some places than it is in others. You know, for instance, when I was doing musical instruments, that was very tricky because we found that, well, the analytics said basically that most of our sales, it took 3 or 4 visits to the site before people bought. So that tells you right away that those people could be clicking the same ad every time because that's how they remember getting to the site, right?
Mm-hmm. Which could suck.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things. You know, Google doesn't tell you. For instance, when I've seen where I get more conversions than I had clicks from Google. You know how that was? Because Google doesn't tell you when they don't count a click.
Right.
Which is BS.
No,
Just like
the other thing I wanted to point out though is this information isn't just for pay-per-click people or people doing any kind of ads. This is also really great information to track if you're just doing SEO work, because then you can put on your report every month and say, you know, you spent $4,000 on my salary this month, but we generated, you know, $25,000 worth of revenue off the website. So in the grand, you know, or 25 grand worth of profit, because you know what your values are. And so you can say, yeah, sure, you wrote a great big check to me, but look how big the check was that you got because of me. And it makes it a lot easier to work with clients at that level, because then they
do you find that like standard reporting out of Google Analytics really helps with it as much for this kind of stuff, or do you find yourself creating custom reports? Like, you know what I mean? But going back, you know, you've got your PPC data in GA, and you've also got your e-com data. They don't always, you know what I mean, work well together. So do you find, you know, can you dig this data out of there, or are you creating custom reports, filters, and things like that?
Generally, I mean, we talk to the client. Most of the clients we have like to see the full whammy custom reports for like the first 6 months. And then we have another conversation with, do you really want to spending the time creating these big whammy reports, or do you just want a one-page summary? And I have only had one client in 5 years more than just the one-page summary.
So the early reporting is more of a trust element, I guess. And once they trust you, then it's like, yeah, okay, I think you're doing great.
Right. And what really I guess what the other thing that kind of triggered this post was I was talking to a new client, and I explained some things to him in an email about how we do business based on some of this information. And he told me flat out that he learned more off that one email than he had working with his current agency for the last 5 years. And he's paying upwards of 8 to 10 grand a month to this agency to manage his ads and pay for the ads. So, you know, you figure that agency's probably, you know, pocketing 2 grand at least based on what I was able to see from AdWords. And they had explained nothing to him. They just sent him this automated report every month with a bill. And he had no clue if he was making money or losing money or any of those things.
Yeah.
So, you know, thanks to them, I got a good client.
Yeah, when I was doing had full control of the sites, I used Google AdWords for the initial data, and then I collected data off the website, basically tracking, you know, acquisition cost. Basically, I broke it down to cost per click, cost per acquisition, and then I got data back from them that told me what the percentages were on what I gave them. So if I was doing 33% on the forms, right, then they would give me back, well, out of that 33, this much converted, like actually we gave loans, right? And then they knew the recurring loan stuff. But I also, because when someone put their data in the database, she was mine. I'd check it every time to see how many loans they had taken out recently. So I was collecting a lot of data. If you really want to do it, you got to be collecting data on your own side, on the website. I also like to, for instance, I'm working on a site right now where I'm going to make a click on the phone number an event so I can count how many times that thing is fucking clicked. Because then I know how many of their things are really coming from the website. Because all they're reporting right now is what fills out the form and gets into Google Analytics, and it ain't much. It's like probably 1/10 of what it really is. So,
event tracking can be huge if you're using it.
Yeah, well, to me, everything, there's like a funnel, and basically the funnels are events. For instance, when I was doing payday loan, I also tracked what percentage of people were not getting, that didn't pass the minimum requirements, because we had questions that qualified the customers. Yeah. So I knew how many unqualified customers I was getting from AdWords and what keywords and stuff they were clicking. That was like fucking gold.
Yeah. We seem to have lost Mr. Dave.
Yes, Mr. Dave has checked out.
Oh, well.
We sound like we've gone offshore. Mr. David has left the conversation.
Somebody forgot to send cash to his PayPal account or something.
Yeah. Or it's that rural internet.
Well, should we move on to the news, or should we wait and see if he shows back up?
Yeah, I think we pretty well covered the PPC angle. Basically, for me, Steve, here's what I've found. Retail, like e-commerce sites, I found it hard to make money on PPC.
It can be tough. It can be real tough.
Well, you got to be priced competitively. That's, you know, if it's not priced competitively, I tell them to forget it. Like, it's not going to work. It does work. Yeah. Like at Christmas, I used to love doing the stuff that was on special, where I could put the price right in the ad. That way you're getting a good call to action, right?
Right.
Tells you a bit more, qualifies people more.
Well, let's move on to the new. I mean, do you want to talk a little bit while we wait for Dave to come back? Do you want to talk about what happened over at GigaOhm, or do you want to move on to other news?
GigaOhm. Don't know nothing about that.
Okay, never mind. It's just one of the biggest, pure tech news sites on the internet. That's all.
Yeah.
They closed up shop on Monday with no warning, zero, gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The
money is gone.
economy is dying, Steve.
Well, I mean that's part of it, but it's
They did like press releases and then kind of did commentary on the press releases. Is that right, Steve?
Real journalism. They did a lot of research and had a lot of or a fair amount of investment money. They got $8 million last year in February, and that's all gone. But it's showing how hard it is to be a very, very, very narrow niche site and be profitable on just ad revenue. It's tough. Plus, how much of their problems came from, Google changes at Google. How much of their business did they lose because of that? There's just a lot of variables. It was just kind of a shock to see them not end gracefully. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, just kind of.
When you just close the doors and tell your employees all at the same time, it's like, oh, by the way, we're done. Have a nice day. That's generally not a good sign.
Looks like Dave is back.
Glitch in the Matrix. I have no fucking idea what just happened.
Rural internet happened.
All right, sorry. As long as you guys are having fun.
Yep.
Yeah, GigaOhm closed shop, Dave.
Oh yeah. Well, now it's not even fucking noticing not even picking up my camera now. So there you go. Much
there you go. Thanks, Google. It's a conspiracy.
Oh well, I'm gonna fucking refresh. As you boys just go out, I'm refreshing this screen. I'm gonna try it again. I'm
Ain't
really.
No bottom third, and now no camera. That's it for you. Nothing. You get nothing. And he's gone again. Oh, this is lovely.
That's okay.
Where shall we go next, Steve?
Let's roll into the news.
Okay.
Dave will be back when he can.
Well, how about we talk about the stream stuff then?
Oh no, not the streams.
Don't cross the streams.
Don't cross the streams. I'm surprised it took them this long to make another quote pivot. I mean, yes, Google Plus is extremely popular with a very small number of people. I try. I really do try to like Google Plus and use it more often, and it just has always bothered me. I started liking it for a while, and then they started plastering those massive freaking pictures in the middle of everything from people's feeds and streams, and it just turned it all off for me because that's not why that's not what I used it for. And there was no way for me to go in and say, "Don't do this."
Yeah.
It's almost.
And it's annoying as hell, right? I started unfollowing people that were dropping them big photos. Then there were so many, I said, well, I ain't going to have no followers if I'm not going to be following everyone if I start doing that. So
it seems like almost everybody on Google Plus thinks they're a photographer, which is fine, I guess, but I think it comes back to a bigger issue of Google continually trying to be a content company. And they're just not very good at it.
Well, here's what I see. They have emulated Facebook to some extent by splitting the streams, right? Like, it's like that in Facebook. You have a page with photos, and then you have a news stream, and then you have, I don't know Facebook very well, so I'll be, you know, right off the top, you know, I originally swore I'd never, you know, never sign on. But occasionally I for business, I figured, well, I pretty much got to do this.
You kind of have to be.
Yeah. And then, you know, once I was there, it was, oh, yeah, okay, well, you know, just another one, and moved on. Same with Google+. However, I do find Google+ a little, for me, some people, like the people, I like it when people send a message. I get a message when people I'm following, and then I can either, you know, look at it or move on, right?
Right. I kind of have split the way I use them. Google Plus has become almost nothing but business for me. Because there's nothing there that's not business that I enjoy. I don't get the same.
Well, to me,
okay, I like the communities or groups or whatever you want to call them. Some of those are pretty well done. Most of them are not.
Yeah, well, you know, for the record, since we have a few groups, I do like the communities on Google Plus over Facebook, let's say, because they're, you know,
Yes.
it's almost like a forum, Steve. They're threaded discussions. You can go back and look at it. You know, like in ours, we got Google Plus, we got Google, we got Forensic, we got. You can go and just read by topic. Whereas, you know, you fire it into a G Plus community, it's gone. And once it gets, you know, down the page, bye bye. It's, you know, so. Apparently, I got the camera working though.
Yeah.
hey, don't speak too quickly, Dave.
Yeah, that's true. Knocking on wood here, man. Oh, look. Ooh.
Whoa. But yeah, I mean, I was expecting another pivot because from what I've seen, the growth numbers of Google Plus are being fed 100% by the phones, and you know, you're tied. Your phone is so tied to Google Plus and your Google account. If you're buying Android.
Yeah, but they stopped that now, Steve. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to sign up to Google Plus anymore for an Android phone. That stopped.
Right. But that's what fed all of Google Plus's growth.
Well, you know, just look at the number of hangouts like the ones we do that there was in our industry a year ago. Almost all of them are gone. I'm not going to name names, but, you know, we all know the guys, Terry, and none of them are doing them anymore. So if they were really working out that well, you'd think it'd be more people doing it, not less. Personally. And again, we're probably the biggest users of that system, marketers. So,
David, we have a total of 5 fucking viewers right now, right? We get more downloads off of iTunes than we do, you know, 10 times as many downloads off of iTunes than we do views on the, like, while it's being recorded or after it's on YouTube. Like, our big thing is the audio. Like, why? Because we've been promoting that channel and it just keeps growing. Because, our show is a little too, I guess, not safe for work type deal. And so a lot of people listen to the audio at home. You know, I had lots of people tell me they listen to it in the car. You know, because, as you know, we didn't set out to prove that we're fucking geniuses. We're just having a good time and talking about what we like to talk about, you know. So there you go. It is what it is, folks.
Mm-hmm.
But we all go by the Popeye credo anyhow, right? You know, I am's what I am's and there ain't no more. It's hard to say. To me, it makes some sense. If they're going to continue to use it in search, if they split up the 2 streams, it's easier to put some into, put the images into the image search and the other, right, put the text into a text search, that makes more sense, doesn't it? Saves the processing, for one thing. And it removes the annoyance of the big-ass fucking pictures.
So what do you think of the potential transition from links to facts as far as how to rank websites?
You're leaning that way too, Steve. I wish Dave.
I'm not leaning that way. I think it's a horribly stupid idea, but that's another issue entirely.
Yeah, but do you think that could be part of what they're doing? That's what I'm asking, actually. I didn't ask if you thought it was a good idea. I know the answer to that.
I think that they're going to try. The problem is so very few things lend themselves to being categorized as facts. I mean, you can't even get it. You can't even get people to agree how old the planet is, and how long there were dinosaurs. How the hell are you going to get them to agree about politics, or any one of or art, or music, or any one of a million other topics that are entirely subjective, based on you personally?
Well, here's where I think, and I doubt Dave will agree with me on this, but I think a lot of the facts that they'll grab will be in structured data. They're not going to try and piece that together. I think if you've got it in structured data that they understand,
that's okay.
Those are much easier to verify.
What if you wrap that structure around something that's not a fact? I mean, even simple math down here is no longer fact because they're introducing this common core.
Yeah, but if you look, Steve, they are verifying this stuff. Like if I put my address in a NAP, they're actually going to my website and other places to verify that they match. Right.
So basically, the potential for a fact-based algorithm is limited to very, very, very small things. Physical addresses, actual physical phone numbers. But once you start getting out of those types of scenarios, 2 + 2 is 4, all of a sudden it starts to fall apart.
Yeah, I agree. But here's the way they're looking at it, I believe, though, Steve, is they're looking and saying, okay, the desktop is pretty much dead. Like, we're going the way of mobile. So with mobile,
it's some niches. I'll agree with you. In a lot of niches, it's not.
Yeah. And I think that's where the new SEO. Let's say that, Steve. Let's call it the new SEO. Is knowing where those facts are important, what facts on your site are important, and how you can verify those. That becomes part of the part of our work.
Yeah, I don't see it being anything other than a very, very minor element to a much larger piece.
I think pretty soon it'll be on par with links, if it isn't already.
Like I said, I just don't know how you could possibly say that when you have so many topics that are not fact-based, they're opinion-based. How do you rank those sites?
I understand. So those might be more link-based, but I think they're even, well, whatever. I
mean, then you start getting into things like real fact and fun fact and comedy fact and opinion fact and political fact and all these other things that start becoming huge variables. And what's the point?
Yeah, we spoke too soon. Dave, have you got your fingers crossed?
No, it's the other computers. I don't know. I switched computers real quick here, so I've got 2 of them in front of me. So this one's fucking up. I'm gonna try this one. It's not our internet fucking up. It's something to do with the computer or something. I don't know. So
is it a different camera?
No, no, it shouldn't be. I'm checking. Hold on. No, it's the same camera. Just there we go. I'm switching everything here.
Oh, okay.
Mike, and
maybe
there we go. All right, there we go. I'm back in HD again. I don't know, man. Anyways, new computer. Try it again.
Anyway.
Anyways.
We were just talking about how fact-based, you know, we're going to fact-based algorithms rather than link-based. So, what do you think of that? Facts are the new link.
Any day now, man. Like tomorrow. They're gonna. Links are always dead, aren't they? Again, I don't know. That whole discussion, we had it over. You know, Bill was going on about it. Everyone else was going on about it. And at the end of the fucking day, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's just another layer on the onion. It's just something else that they're going to use, and what kind of value it has, time will tell. Are they going to just like throw out links tomorrow and throw out social graphs and everything else, and it's all about facts now? I find that hard to believe. It's just, again, it's not based on any computer science knowledge. It's more that I just Google. They don't. It's Google, man. They don't want to just throw it out.
Again, it's the numbers, right? The more layers to that onion, right, the less apart links can play.
Well, right? And yeah, I agree with that. You and I have talked about that for ages. That the reliance on links is constantly changing. But so yeah, no, I agree that that's a signal they'll probably look at. But you know, is it replacing links? I don't think anything's replacing anything. It's just like you're saying. It's just another piece, another part, another another data set that they can apply thresholds to. So, but that Scientific American article, and then Rand, of course, running off with it after that, was like, we're just throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We're going this way now. It's like, I fucking think so.
For instance, Dave, here's how I kind of look at it, right? Taking a site that I'm working on right now. Whenever I describe a service, I put it in structured data, right? Because, to me, that's a fact about that page, right? The description of that service. It's a fact for that page that could almost work as like a definition. It's set up like with the colon and that sort of stuff. So I've got a double signal there, really, if you're looking for the extraction facts, right, where you got the colon and the structured data. It's like,
you know, look at their addiction to Wikipedia over the years. You know, look at the hummingbird stuff. Look at, you know, the whole knowledge graph in general, which, you know what I mean. Look at the Raiders guides when we were talking about local a couple of weeks ago about, you know, if they start seeing different facts about that location, other places, it becomes less trustable. So yeah, for sure, I see elements that this stuff makes sense. And I just don't like this whole Rand or whoever approach of saying that, you know, this is gone and now this is the thing. You know, that's the only problem I have with it. I agree with it in theory that that's going to become a stronger signal, but do I think they're going to just like do a 180? I doubt it.
No, nothing changes, you know, like overnight. But they are adding these things. Always, to me, they have an end game, right? And the end game is to just supply answers and one-click fucking search. You know, that's the end game. That's why nothing they do that cuts down the amount of clicks that actually lead to a website doesn't surprise me, because I see that as the end game, right? You know, what I plan to do,
which is Orion, which is what, 2003 or 4 or something, so 10 years ago. So yeah, they've been kind of working towards this for a while. You know?
Yeah, I was
it's not a big shock to anyone who knows. You know?
I need to talk to you later. I'm writing an article, and I wanted the information on that.
Oh, okay,
I actually decided to write an article about it.
You guys are awesome. I don't think I've written in, I don't remember.
Well, you're not doing it now, so one of us has to be doing it.
Well, we're not on that list of top 100 SEOs, so we got to start doing something here. You know, like, come on, man.
Far way to the top.
We're like yesterday's fucking
100 SEOs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that article's obviously crap since we're not on it. So.
Well,
obviously. For sure, at least Steve would be there. But yeah, you know what I mean, Terry. I like the premise of it. I have no issues with the the chatter about it. That's that's where I think it goes wrong as usual. You know,
To me,
You
it
know,
also
so somebody
goes
gets a
back.
hold of it. Somebody gets a hold of a paper like that, and then it was a paper, not a patent. In this instance, I'm pretty sure, from what I recall, a couple weeks ago when this came out, it's not even a patent. It's actually a research paper from Googlers. And the problem is, as always, you know what I mean? Like if it's a Bill Slosky post or somebody else finds a fucking patent, they just jump on it and run with it. And you know, Rand started going off about this. Is you know,
That Scientific America post was, you know, that was just
no,
stupid.
it's so thin. That was thin content, man. Panda should have smacked that bitch.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, but yeah, there were very little facts in that one, other than the fact that a paper was published and with the fact about what they said. The rest was
Paper didn't even say much. Basically, you know, hey, we're doing this.
Well, for a place that's got scientific in their name, you know, you would hope they'd have a little more forward thinking. But so yeah, again, I agree. I think that knowledge and facts and things like that come into play. But I think we talked about this in the dojo chat room, which was, you know, where does that play into like an e-commerce page or something of that nature? You know what I mean? Like there are certain query spaces and query classifications where facts, you know, may not be as important. You know. Again, like if I gave you the choice with your e-commerce page to have mentions and citations and links over facts, you know, which would you want? You know, I'm still going with the links and the citations. You know, I could care less about the facts because it's a fucking blue pair of slippers or something. You know? Where do facts play into that? Are they really blue? Okay.
We don't really know how it's working yet.
No,
it could be that, you know, they'll stick the facts at the top of the fucking search. That would make it worth fucking having the facts there, wouldn't it? That would change people's... But the thing is, Dave, here's what I see is motivating it all, and Steve and I touched on it briefly, is, you know, right now, about half the queries are mobile, right? But mobile is going to grow to the point where, and, you know, I'm even contemplating the day that, you know, there'll be no fucking cable either. It'll just be all a big mobile internet.
Yeah, and you gotta look at that. You gotta look at that data too. That you know what I mean. A large portion of the third world and less developed countries that don't have internet infrastructure are using mobile phones. Now, are these the people buying your products? So I always look at a grain of salt when sure, data like that, I still look at a grain of salt because when I go into a client's actual analytics and look at the amount of mobile traffic and searches they're getting compared to desktop, it doesn't play out to the news stories you hear about, 60% or whatever fucking number of searches are mobile. Well, sure, that's because somebody in the middle of, some third world country that can't afford a computer is on his phone searching shit. Now, is that relevant to my client? Is that relevant to my business? Is that relevant to where I'm at? No, not always.
It would be nice to know what the query data is on just Google.com or civil.
Break that down regionally. Break that mobile data down regionally. That would be very interesting. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I bet you there's a lot more desktop searches here than there is in, say, even Japan or Asia, where, look, in India, when I was working with the Indian developers, I mean, sometimes they couldn't work because there was no fucking electricity. I mean...
Yeah. So you're using your mobile phone. So.
They had generators because the electricity went down that often.
Yeah, a lot of my North American clients, I started actually digging in to the mobile versus desktop to sort of, and even tablet. Google Analytics breaks down all of those nicely.
Yeah, I like to do by mobile device, like just go by kind of a device breakdown. That gives you the most data. I want to know.
Sometimes a tablet's not really mobile. Sometimes people are sitting in their house on their bed or in their bedroom with their tablet
on a Wi-Fi. Right.
So is that really mobile? No, yeah, exactly. Is that really mobile? That's why I kind of look at all three separately. Because truly, the mobile phone is the one I can think. And even still, my wife, my daughter will sit here in the house on the mobile phone. So does that translate to somebody out looking for a restaurant? Right. Probably not.
You can look for the screen type too, Dave. So it'll break it down by the screen that's watching.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I'd be interesting to see those kind of numbers broken down better when we see those kind of reports.
We can agree though that for the mobile web, answers and you know, less detailed pages are what people really want.
You don't want to be doing this. You don't want to be, you know, who wants to do this and scrolling through shit, man? You know what I mean? And then clicking to a website, and then, oops, I clicked the wrong one because my big fat fucking fingers or something, you know what I mean? And I had to go back now. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I think a lot of this is driven by that. And like we've always talked about with Hummingbird and conversational search and all that kind of shit, you know, there's going to come a day where you just want to go, you know, what's the temperature in fucking Yugoslavia right now? And whoop, pops it up, you know. Like,
well, my brother can do that on his phone now.
Yeah, for sure. It's just going to get better. You know what I mean?
Google, you know, it's pretty evident that people don't want to really surf the web on a phone, less so on a tablet. They don't mind going through a social street. That's another thing. I think a lot of that device usage is on mobile, like mobile platform. A lot of that usage is on social, isn't it?
Yeah, well, for sure. And, you know, I mean, again, we've talked about the battle of the living room, and you see all those futuristic houses where you tell the lights to dim and all this kind of stuff. You know, you look at these Xboxes and the Kinect and stuff. I know so many people, you know, kids and they talk to the TV now. It's like, you know, Xbox search, you know, whatever, and off the Xbox goes, and it's Bing, obviously.
And it's fucking unreal. Wait till you see this thing, man. Like, it's awesome. My brother's he's a Windows geek.
Yeah. Well, no, Microsoft's got great voice technology, man. Woo-hoo. They do. It's the old troll, right? Right, Steve? Terry, because your Xbox has like voice command control and stuff. And if a guy's got the speakers on his TV turned up really loud, what gamers will do is they'll say into their microphone, Xbox off. And the guy's game, his whole thing will just turn off on him. That's how they troll each other. So, yeah. Steve doesn't have to worry about, what is it? Control F1 or what is it?
Alt F4.
Alt F4, that's the one, yeah. Don't do it, folks. At least till after the show. Go ahead. But, yeah, it's that same kind of troll, Steve, only now you can just do it with your voice when you got an Xbox. You know, so. Yeah, we'll see, Terry. Again, you know, I mean, I'm with you. I think the world is voice-centric and fact and knowledge-based, and all these things are very huge. And as we've talked about a lot of times, you know, I think Google does want to get away from links because they're too spammable and things of that nature. But who do you trust as the cornerstone of all facts? You know what I mean? Is Google now going to be what Google believes is a fact is what a fact is? Or does that remove any kind of discussion? You know, there's so many areas that facts are debatable, you know, from medical world to anything else.
Yeah, I think they're looking at so many things. To try and reverse engineer it, you'll go fucking mental before you'll figure it out.
But I'm less worried about figuring it out than I am about Google thinking that they get to be the arbiter of facts.
That's the issue I have, Steve, I guess. Yeah. And I think there's a risk in that. So, definitely.
Well, that's a lot of power. Same with, you know, like...
Well, how many kids today already think that way, guys? You know what I mean? Like, they want to know something for a school paper, whatever, they search Google. And that's how they do research. And they just take whatever it spits back at them, which is Wikipedia usually.
If it becomes one-click search, right? Basically, there'll be one destination.
No, it's no-click. No, it's no-click searching, Gary.
No-click, okay.
No-click. Google gives you the answer.
Oh, okay. Well, where do you go from there? I mean, one click to purchase, Dave. That's what I'm talking about. Think about it. Google Pay.
Not even that. You search from your voice search on your Google phone. Your self-driving Google car is out in the front fucking yard, and it goes off to the store and picks it up for you. You don't even get off, you fat ass. You just sit at home and go, all right, Google, this and that. It brings back the product. Google buy, and your car ramps up and off it goes to pick it up. You know.
Yeah, we'll all be like that guy in the Dune, Steve, where Google will be doing everything. We'll be floating around, you know, because we're too big to walk.
Seriously.
In a vat of Google juice.
The spice, it'll be the juice.
Yeah, the juice.
The juice.
Oh, I forgot you're a Dune fan too, right?
Fadekin, come on, Fadekin.
Oh yeah,
Gotta remember that was his
what,
handle on the boards, man. So
yeah, I just remembered now.
So yeah, he might just be a Dune guy. Entirely possible.
Actually, no, that's a different word. It's spelled differently, but that's okay.
Oh, is it? Is it? Okay, yeah. So where did your handle come from?
It's actually from Middle East. It's a slightly different translation. We won't go into it.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, we got like 2 minutes, so I don't think we got time to jump into anything too exciting here. Okay, there's one. Apparently, Panda has not run since last fall.
Google runs Panda constantly. It has not refreshed or updated.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, hold on. Right. So, yesterday at Google Hangout, John Mueller. Hi, John. How's it going, buddy?
Poor guy.
Let's see, John Mueller. I had to ask John about the whole real-time instant Panda thing. Gary Ilsman, blah, blah, blah. I asked John a question, and come on, where's the answer? Oh, John said, we do kind of have Panda tied into our search results more directly. So there is this kind of real-time reflection. But as far as I know, we haven't updated the data that's reflected there for a while. I don't know, Terry. That sounds like not even a refresh. So entirely possible.
I think they're constantly looking for new pages. But we've seen it too, Dave. When you fix stuff with Panda, it is reflected pretty quickly. You start to see, the results pretty quickly.
So yeah, it's becoming more, as we once predicted, integrated into the actual crawling algorithms and things of that nature.
I think it's part of indexing, but I think you got to remember, right? Like Google does, there's not a process anymore. They crawl it and it goes directly into the results. That's how you get information there in 10 seconds, right? From trusted sources. So
yeah, maybe we were really getting to that point where it's like you were just saying, that it's actually part of the actual initial indexing and quality scoring. Yeah.
Then there's a processing that happens at some point, probably offline, and then that updates the thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting statement, man.
Like during the indexing, I think they're looking for Panda pages. We're going to know pretty soon because I am working on a site that someone else told me how it was going to be designed. I'm about to let this thing fucking loose, and I know almost for a fact, I'll say it here, that the rankings will tank as a result of the amount of text about the fold.
Or the lack thereof, you mean? Just so anyone listening understands.
The lack thereof. Like
the big-ass graphic.
Yes, the big-ass graphics at the top of the page. I told them, I recommend you don't implement this. I'm making it,
I'm going on record.
Yeah. Basically, you understand. I put it like this. You understand. You're telling me to go ahead with this against my recommendations. As long as we're clear on that, I'll do it. Because I do what I'm told. But, I make the client wear it. Because they're going to pay me.
All right, Steve, what do you got there? Well,
they're going to pay me to fix it. That's the bottom line. Of course, the site is built in such a way that it can be very easily fixed. That's in its own.
I think to qualify that, Steve, what he meant was he does what he's told by those paying him.
Yes. Yes, we should definitely put
I think there was like a list of things running through Steve's head right there that he'd like to tell you right now. It's just to test out the theory. So.
Yeah.
Right. No, no. There's always got to be something there. I'm not that cooperative.
All right, boys. 2:02 Eastern, of course. We put in our hour, folks. Thank you very much as always. And yeah, we just don't seem to ever get through the show notes anymore, which is kind of funny. But it's good we're passionate. And here in Canada, we've got +degree weather, so I'm happy.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
How's it going down there, Steve?
Snow to melt, and we'll have no snow on the ground. Just a foot to go now, Dave.
I know, man. Yeah, it's literally. We still, yeah. Out here in the country, we
in
got.
front of my house.
We're gonna need another couple of weeks of positive weather just to get rid of the snow we got out here. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in, listening. If you're listening to the podcast, or if you're tuning in here with us today, hold on. We actually got questions now, so I guess we should. It's Bob, our good buddy Bob. Sorry, Bob. I'm looking on the laptop now. I can't read shit with my old eyes. Yeah, I guess that's interesting. Bob was commenting, Terry, on our discussion about the whole facts and things like that. Yeah. There's an interesting concept Bob was just saying, which is that a link from these trusted sources, meaning let's say a site has a high trust score because of the facts on a site, or that they're facts that correlate to what Google believes are facts, that those links in themselves might actually get a boost from something like that. I think that makes sense. I can live with that one. Then he says, I don't think about this as about being provable facts. It's more about having information on your site that's supported by trusted sources. If you say X and Wikipedia says Y, then you're probably not going to get credit for that publishing that fact. And again, which kind of goes back, Terry, to what we were talking about in the local stuff as far as, if you have one location information here and this one's different, that one's different, the trust scoring goes down. So, again, it's like people used to try and, like Moz's LDA tool, try to disseminate, semantic correlations from a search result, and as opposed to that you could have some sort of fact correlation that if your site's but isn't that become the problem, Steve, that opposing views to something now don't see the light of day?
Right.
Isn't that the slippery slope, Steve?
It's
if you don't agree with the common thinking, that now you're going to be less ranked and less visible and less reach?
It's a more aggressive form of filter bubbles that's going to, in a lot of ways, limit exposure to alternative viewpoints. Now, what's this going to do for all the conspiracy sites?
Yeah.
You got the guys who talk about
or even political views or religious views and things of that nature, no?
Right.
I think it's a slippery slope, man.
Like I said, if it's limited to verifiable scientific facts, okay, sure. I'm okay with that. But when you start bringing in cultural issues and political issues and artistic issues, all of a sudden facts become a whole lot more solid, less of a solid footing than they could be.
Well,
and there's the potential for alternative viewpoints not to be heard or seen or whatever. It's a sense. It could be a censorship in some way. Yeah, I think it's a problem, but everything they seem to do is a slippery slope. So whatever. We shall see how it plays out at the end.
That's it. Just one more thing that they're looking at.
And I hope it stays that way, Terry. Again, the way it was presented was this, it's the new thing crap, and we hear that all the time in this world of ours. But hopefully, it's not like that. Hopefully, it is like you're saying, that it just becomes another signal amongst many.
It's not like Google flipped the switch and the fucking story come out. It's been there probably for months, so that's how detectable it is, folks. Yeah, fuck, It is what it is. It's always changing.
It's not like all the rankings just flip-flopped, you know what I mean? And everyone was like, what happened here?
They're going to mean nothing, and we're just going to check facts. Only an idiot and the fucking New York Times writes an article like that. So what does that say about Rand and the New York Times? Or what? the Scientific American, or I don't know. I don't want to.
Scientific something or
paint
other.
them, I don't want to paint them with the Rand, but I'm not.
No, but
sure.
it was just as bad, dude. It was literally like, this is the way it's going to go, and Google's going to 180, and literally that's how they wrote it up. It was just painful.
Some people just write shit that will get clicks to their website with no real fucking care about those that read it and how they'll take it. Like that's gone in this business. No one gives a shit anymore about the crap that's out there as long as they get clicks to their frickin' websites. That's how we measure things now,
Hey, Market.
Well, all right. So there we go. Thanks for chiming in, Bob. I'm sorry I didn't see your comments earlier. We were almost signed off, but for you, Bob, always. And that's what happened, folks. When you come back here every week for some crazy reason like Bob does, we love you.
All four of you, thanks for watching.
Or 3 moms and Bob.
There you go.
All right, guys.
Have a good week.
All right, guys. So go ahead, Steve.
Nope, just saying, have a good week, everybody. I'm out of here.
Don't make lots of money doing that PPC the way me and Steve told you how to do it.
Be sure to check out the SEO Trading Dojo Google Plus page. On Friday, we're doing a grab bag, so which means you can ask us anything, to steal a phrase, or suggest any topic you want. We're just going to get in and ramble and have some fun. So drop by Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern. We'll be here hanging out. You can come join us.
Get the Google Webmaster HOA and come to where we give the real deal.
All right, guys. Everyone watching, listening, thank you very much, gentlemen. Until next time, have a good one. Yep. Terry, you got to take us out, man. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting. I'm going to sit here until you do.
You already said it.
What?
Oh, you already said it? Well, fuck it. I'll just edit it in for the podcast. All right, guys.
Earlier.
All right. We're out of here.